They say knowledge is power. They say information is the ultimate weapon. But what happens when that weapon is turned against you? What happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? Yesterday, Ethan Reed thought he had won his war against bullying. Today, he's about to discover that some battles are just the beginning of much larger conflicts. Maplewood High School, 7:23 a.m. The morning after the revolution. To casual observers, it looks like any other day. But beneath the surface, everything has changed. Power structures that took years to build crumbled overnight. And when power structures crumble, something always rushes in to fill the vacuum. Ethan Reed stands at his locker, no longer trying to be invisible. For the first time in 3 years, students approach him voluntarily. Some with gratitude, others with requests, many with questions he's not sure he can answer. Marcus Webb approaches nervously. Ethan, hey. I wanted to thank you again for yesterday. Derek hasn't even looked at me this morning. Ethan responds while organizing his books. That's good, Marcus. But remember, this isn't about me protecting you. This is about all of us protecting each other. Sarah Mueller joins the conversation. Is it true what people are saying? That you have files on everyone? Ethan closes his locker. I have files on people who hurt others. That's all. Jennifer Adams asks hopefully. So we're really safe now? Derek and Jessica can't hurt us anymore? This is the question Ethan has been dreading. Because the truth is, he doesn't know. He's neutralized his immediate threats, but he's also painted a target on his back. We're safer than we were yesterday. But staying safe means staying vigilant. David Park voices what others are thinking. But what if they find ways to get back at us that you can't document? Before Ethan can answer, his phone buzzes. The same unknown number from yesterday. The screen shows, library. 3rd floor. Section Q, 799. Come alone. You have 10 minutes. Ethan's expression changes, confidence replaced by wariness. Marcus notices the shift. What's wrong? Ethan forces a smile. Nothing. Just need to go to the library. Research project. Sarah offers helpfully. Want us to come with you? No. His response is too quick, too sharp. I work better alone. You guys should get to class early. As Ethan walks away, the students exchange concerned glances. Something has changed in their newfound leader. The library's 3rd floor is practically deserted. Section Q, 799 houses philosophy and psychology texts, a perfectly symbolic location for what's about to unfold. Ethan climbs the stairs, footsteps echoing. Every instinct tells him this is a trap, but his curiosity is stronger than his caution. Section Q, 799. Books on human behavior, social psychology, group dynamics. Ethan runs his fingers along the spines, looking for anything out of place. Then he sees it. The Art of War, by Sun Tzu, filed between Freud and Jung. As he pulls it from the shelf, a folded paper falls to the floor. The note is handwritten in precise block letters, Mr. Reed. Impressive work yesterday. But you've made a fundamental error. You assumed Derek Matthews was your real enemy. You assumed high school bullying was your biggest problem. You assumed you understood the game being played. You were wrong on all counts. Turn to page 147. Ethan's hands tremble as he opens the book to page 147. There, underlined in red ink, all warfare is based on deception. Below the passage, more handwritten text, the Shadow Council has been watching you for 3 years, Mr. Reed. We know about your documentation, your psychological profiles, your methods. We know because we taught Derek everything he knows. We are the puppet masters. He was just our puppet. The blood drains from Ethan's face. Derek wasn't acting on his own initiative. The systematic bullying, the coordinated attacks, the way different groups seemed to work together to isolate victims, it wasn't random teenage cruelty. It was organized. Professional. Deliberate. A voice speaks from behind him, calm and measured. Fascinating reading, isn't it? Ethan spins around to see a girl he recognizes but has never spoken to. Olivia Chen, senior, valedictorian track, student council treasurer. She's always seemed above the petty dramas of high school social life. Now, looking at her, Ethan realizes why. You, Ethan says, pieces clicking into place. You're the Shadow Council. Olivia smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. I'm a representative. The council prefers to maintain its anonymity. But yes, I'm here to speak for them. What do you want? Olivia approaches slowly, movements controlled and deliberate. What we've always wanted, Mr. Reed. Order. Structure. A functioning social ecosystem where everyone knows their place and stays in it. By using bullies to terrorize innocent people? Olivia's expression doesn't change. By maintaining necessary hierarchies. You think Derek Matthews is cruel? He's a blunt instrument, yes, but an effective one. He keeps the natural order intact. Ethan's mind races. You're talking about human beings like they're chess pieces. Aren't they? Olivia counters. When Derek and his crew maintained order, when Jessica Hartwell set social standards, this place functioned. Now you have chaos. Uncertainty. Fear. Fear of bullies. Ethan protests. Olivia shakes her head. You're thinking too small. Derek and Jessica didn't act for entertainment. They acted for order. Every student they disciplined was disrupting the social balance. Every target they selected was threatening the stability we've worked years to create. The conversation is surreal. Ethan is listening to someone describe systematic bullying as social engineering, cruelty as necessary governance. You're insane. Am I? Tell me, Mr. Reed, how many students approached you this morning looking for protection? How many see you as their leader now? Ethan doesn't answer, but his silence is answer enough. Olivia continues. In 24 hours, you've gone from invisible victim to tribal chief. You have followers who depend on you, enemies who want to destroy you, and responsibilities you never asked for. How is that working out? She's right, and Ethan hates that she's right. The weight of expectations, the fear of failing them, the constant vigilance required to maintain his new position, it's exhausting. That doesn't justify what Derek did to people. Doesn't it? Derek carried the burden so others didn't have to. He made the hard decisions, enforced the necessary boundaries, maintained peace through strength. Olivia pulls out a tablet showing documents. These are Derek's grades from 3 years ago, before he became your boogeyman. Honor roll. Volunteer work. Tutoring struggling classmates. He was a good kid, Mr. Reed. We made him into what he needed to be. The documents show a different Derek Matthews. Academic achievements, community service, leadership in positive activities. It's a jarring contrast to the cruel bully Ethan has known. What happened to him? He grew into his role. We identified natural leaders and gave them the tools and motivation to maintain order. This is psychological warfare of the highest order. Olivia is reframing everything Ethan thought he understood, making victims of the bullies and tyrants of the system maintainers. It's sophisticated, insidious, and terrifyingly effective. Ethan's phone buzzes with notifications. Text messages, social media alerts, missed calls. Something is happening. Olivia watches his growing alarm with calm satisfaction. Check your social media, Mr. Reed. See what your revolution has accomplished. With growing dread, Ethan opens his phone. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, all flooding with content about him. But this isn't celebration of his victory over the bullies. This is character assassination on a digital scale he never imagined possible. The posts are everywhere. Ethan Reed, school shooter in training? Local student caught stalking classmates, creepy kid keeps secret files on everyone. Is Ethan Reed the real bully? The evidence is sophisticated. Screenshots of his research files, taken out of context to look like stalking behavior. Quotes from his psychological analyses, edited to sound threatening. Photos of him looking intense or angry, captured from security cameras at perfect angles to suggest instability. How? Ethan whispers, scrolling through post after post, destroying his reputation. The same way you gathered information on Derek and his friends, Olivia explains calmly. Careful observation, strategic documentation, and perfect timing for maximum impact. The difference is, we've been doing this for years. Every post has hundreds of likes, dozens of shares, comments from students expressing fear, disgust, calls for his expulsion. In the span of one conversation, Ethan has gone from liberator to public enemy. This isn't real. People know me. They know I was trying to help. Do they? Or do they know a narrative? And narratives, Mr. Reed, can be changed. The sophistication of the attack is breathtaking. It's not crude cyberbullying or obvious harassment. It's a coordinated disinformation campaign designed to isolate Ethan from his support system and reframe his heroic narrative as dangerous obsession. Olivia shows him more posts, these ones appearing to be from students he thought were his allies. Marcus Webb, I thought Ethan was helping us, but now I'm scared. What if he has files on me too? Sarah Mueller, the way he looked at us this morning was creepy. Like he was studying us. They didn't write these, Ethan says desperately. Of course they did. We simply provided them with a new perspective on recent events. Helped them see the situation more clearly. You want to know what real power looks like, Mr. Reed? It doesn't look like Derek Matthews shoving people into lockers. It looks like this. Controlling information. Shaping narratives. Making people believe what you need them to believe. The library feels like it's closing in around Ethan. Yesterday he was invisible. This morning he was a leader. Now he's a pariah, isolated and under attack from directions he didn't know existed. What do you want from me? The same thing we wanted from Derek when we recruited him 3 years ago. Compliance. Cooperation. A return to your proper place in the hierarchy. And if I refuse? Olivia's smile returns, cold and calculating. Then you'll discover that being the target of systematic bullying was just the tutorial level. What we can do to you now, with your reputation destroyed and your allies turned against you, makes Derek's physical intimidation look like kindergarten playground disputes. Ethan realizes he's trapped in a situation far more complex and dangerous than he ever imagined. The Shadow Council isn't just a group of student bullies. They're a sophisticated network with resources, influence, and capabilities that extend far beyond high school social dynamics. How many of you are there? Enough, is all Olivia will say. We exist at every level of this institution. Students, faculty, administration, even some parents and community members. We are the invisible hand that maintains order. The scope of what Ethan has stumbled into is staggering. This isn't just about stopping bullying. It's about challenging a secret power structure that views the entire school as their domain to control. You're talking about a conspiracy. We're talking about governance. Someone has to make the hard decisions. Someone has to maintain stability. Ethan's phone continues buzzing with notifications. Each new post, each new comment drives him deeper into social isolation. By lunchtime, he'll be the most hated student in Maplewood High. You've made your point, Ethan says quietly. I understand the situation. Do you? Because understanding the situation and accepting your place in it are two different things. Derek understood but never fully accepted. That's why he was never more than a blunt instrument. We're hoping you might be more adaptable. The offer hangs in the air between them. Join the Shadow Council. Become part of the system instead of fighting against it. What would that look like? Ethan asks, hating himself for even considering it. You continue your research, but you share it with us. You use your insights into human behavior to help us maintain stability rather than disrupt it. You become Derek's replacement, but smarter, more subtle, more effective. It's a devil's bargain. Trade his principles for protection. Use his gifts to oppress others instead of defend them. Become the very thing he fought against. And if I help you, all this goes away? Olivia gestures toward his phone. The narrative changes. Ethan Reed, the misunderstood genius who learned from his mistakes and is now working to make the school a better place. You can really do that? Just change how everyone sees this. Mr. Reed, we created the narrative that made Derek Matthews a hero to some and a villain to others. We can create any narrative we need. The question is, which narrative would you prefer to live in? The power they're offering is intoxicating. No more being hunted. No more fighting impossible odds. Just intelligence used efficiently in service of a larger system. But at what cost? I need time to think. Of course. But not too much time. Social media moves fast, and public opinion can be remarkably difficult to reverse once it reaches a certain momentum. Olivia starts to leave, then turns back. Oh, and Mr. Reed? Your little support group from this morning? They'll be receiving some additional context about your research methods throughout the day. By the time school ends, I suspect you'll find yourself remarkably alone. Unless, of course, you decide to come in from the cold. As Olivia disappears into the stacks, Ethan slumps against the bookshelf. 24 hours ago, he thought his biggest problem was Derek Matthews and a few teenage bullies. Now he's discovered a secret network that makes high school bullying look like child's play. The silent roar that began yesterday as a victim's cry for justice has become something much more complex. The puppet masters have revealed themselves. Now Ethan must decide, will he cut their strings, or become another puppet dancing to their tune? First period. AP Psychology with Mrs. Henderson. Ethan sits in his usual seat, but everything feels different. The whispers start the moment he walks in. Students who smiled at him this morning now avoid eye contact. The digital assassination campaign is working faster than he imagined possible. Mr. Reed, Mrs. Henderson calls out, her voice unusually cold. I'd like to see you after class. The way she says it tells Ethan everything. She's seen the posts. She believes them. In one morning, he's gone from invisible victim to suspected threat. The class discusses group dynamics and social psychology, topics that yesterday would have fascinated Ethan. Today, they feel like weapons being described by people planning to use them against him. Every concept feels like a blueprint for his destruction. Sarah Mueller, who defended him just hours ago, raises her hand. Mrs. Henderson, is it true that people who collect detailed information about others without consent could be exhibiting stalking behaviors? The question is clearly aimed at him. Ethan turns to look at Sarah, shocked by the betrayal. Mrs. Henderson glances at Ethan before answering. That's certainly one interpretation. When someone obsessively documents others' private behaviors, it can indicate concerning psychological patterns. The entire class turns to stare at Ethan. The message is clear: you're not safe here anymore. When the bell rings, students file out quickly, avoiding Ethan completely. Mrs. Henderson approaches him with a concerned expression that doesn't quite hide her suspicion. "Ethan, I've received some troubling reports about your recent behavior. Would you like to explain what's been happening?" "Reports?" Ethan asks, though he already knows what she means. "Students are saying you've been keeping detailed files on your classmates, recording conversations without consent, that you've been studying people in ways that make them uncomfortable." This is exactly what Olivia warned him would happen. The narrative is changing in real time, turning his research into stalking, his observations into obsession, his self-defense into aggression. "Mrs. Henderson, that's not what happened. I was documenting bullying incidents to protect myself and others." "Ethan, I want to believe you, but some of these screenshots." She shows him her phone, displaying the same manipulated evidence Olivia showed him earlier. "This looks very comprehensive. Very personal. Students are frightened." The betrayal cuts deep. Mrs. Henderson taught him to think critically, to analyze human behavior, to understand psychological patterns. Now she's using those same skills to pathologize him. None of this is what it looks like. Someone is manipulating the information. Who would do that, Ethan? And why? It's a fair question with an answer she'd never believe. How do you explain a secret council of students and faculty orchestrating psychological warfare? How do you describe a conspiracy that sounds like paranoid delusion? "I can't explain it right now. But I can prove my research was legitimate. It was all about stopping bullying, not causing harm." Mrs. Henderson's expression softened slightly. "Ethan, I think you should speak with the guidance counselor. Maybe take a few days to get some perspective." Translation: "We think you're having a breakdown. We think you're dangerous. We want you gone until you're no longer a threat." "I'm not crazy, Mrs. Henderson. I'm being set up." "By whom? The entire student body? Multiple social media platforms?" "Ethan, sometimes when we're under stress, we can start seeing patterns that aren't really there." And there it is. The final psychological blow. Gaslighting at its most sophisticated. Make the victim question their own sanity, their own perceptions, their own experiences. "I know what I saw. I know what I documented. And I know someone is using it against me. Then let's look at it together. Show me your research. Help me understand what really happened." It's a trap. Show her the files, and she'll see exactly what the Shadow Council wants her to see: obsessive documentation that looks like stalking. Don't show her, and she'll assume he's lying or delusional. "I need to think about this." Mrs. Henderson nods. "Of course. But Ethan? Until we sort this out, maybe it's best if you keep a lower profile. Don't engage with the students who are concerned about you. Give everyone time to calm down." Lower profile. Don't engage. In other words, go back to being invisible. Go back to being powerless. Go back to being the victim you were before yesterday's revolution. As Ethan leaves the classroom, his phone buzzes with a text from his mother, called by principal. "Coming to school now." What's happening? The Shadow Council isn't just destroying his reputation with students and teachers. They're going after his family, his support system, everything that might help him fight back. Ethan realizes he's not just facing social isolation anymore. He's facing complete systematic destruction. Principal Johnson's office. 11:47 a.m. Ethan sits across from his mother, Linda Reed, whose face shows a mixture of confusion, disappointment, and fear. Next to her, his father David Reed looks like he's aged 10 years in the past hour. Between them and Ethan sits Principal Johnson, flanked by guidance counselor Mrs. Patterson and, surprisingly, Olivia Chen. "Thank you all for coming," Principal Johnson begins. "We have a very serious situation to discuss." Ethan's mother speaks first, her voice tight with worry. "Mr. Johnson, I don't understand what's happening. Yesterday Ethan was telling us he'd finally stood up to his bullies. Now you're saying he's the problem." Olivia speaks up, her voice perfectly modulated to sound concerned rather than accusatory. "Mrs. Reed, I think there's been a misunderstanding about what happened yesterday. From what students are telling us, Ethan didn't stand up to bullies. He threatened them with private information he'd collected without their knowledge." "That's not true," Ethan interjects, but his father raises a hand to silence him. "Let them finish, son." The disappointment in his father's voice cuts deep. These are the people who taught him to stand up for himself, to fight back against injustice. Now they're treating him like the criminal. Mrs. Patterson opens a folder filled with printed screenshots. "These are some of the materials we've found circulating online. Mr. and Mrs. Reed, I have to tell you, the level of detail your son collected about his classmates is concerning. She spreads out the papers like evidence at a trial. Behavioral analyses, personal information, psychological profiles. Ethan's mother picks up one of the sheets, her face growing pale as she reads. Ethan, what is this? This says you've been watching Jessica Hartwell? Taking notes about her eating habits? It's one of his research files, but completely stripped of context. Without the accompanying evidence of Jessica's cruelty, without the documentation of her harassment campaigns, it just looks like stalking. Mom, you don't understand. I was documenting bullying patterns. I was trying to understand why they targeted certain people. His mother looks at him like she doesn't recognize him. Honey, this doesn't look like documenting bullying. This looks like you were obsessed with these kids. Principal Johnson leans forward. Ethan, I want to hear your side of this. But I have to tell you, we've had multiple students come forward expressing fear about your behavior. Some parents are considering restraining orders. Restraining orders. The words hit Ethan like a physical blow. Yesterday he was the victim seeking justice. Today he's the predator parents want to protect their children from. This is insane. You all know me. I've never hurt anyone. I've never even raised my voice to anyone. But you have been collecting private information, Mrs. Patterson points out. You have been studying your classmates in ways that make them uncomfortable. And yesterday, you used that information to threaten them. Olivia nods sadly. I tried to help Derek and Jessica understand that Ethan might have been acting out of pain, but they're genuinely frightened. Derek hasn't slept. Jessica's parents are considering transferring her to private school. The manipulation is masterful. Olivia is positioning herself as the reasonable mediator, the one trying to help everyone understand each other. Meanwhile, she's painting Derek and Jessica as the victims of Ethan's psychological terrorism. You're all being played, Ethan says desperately. This is exactly what they want. They want you to turn against me. Who is they, son? His father asks gently. Who wants us to turn against you? How can he answer that? How can he explain that his guidance counselor might be part of the conspiracy? That students and faculty are working together to maintain a secret social order? That the girl sitting right here, presenting herself as a concerned mediator, is actually orchestrating his destruction? I can't explain it in a way you'll believe. But I'm not the person these posts make me look like. Someone is using my research against me, taking it out of context, making it look like something it's not. His mother reaches across and takes his hand. Ethan, sweetheart, do you hear yourself? You're talking about conspiracies. About people orchestrating elaborate schemes against you. That's not how the world works. But it is how the world works. At least, it's how this world works. The world of Maplewood High, where power structures are maintained through sophisticated psychological manipulation, where victims are turned into villains, where truth is whatever the puppet masters decide it should be. Mrs. Reed, Olivia says softly, I've been working with students who are struggling with various issues. Sometimes, when someone has been hurt repeatedly, they can develop what psychologists call paranoid ideation. They start seeing threats everywhere, even from people trying to help. Ethan stares at Olivia in amazement. She's not just manipulating the situation, she's providing psychological terminology to explain away his resistance. She's giving his parents and the administrators a framework to understand his objections as symptoms of mental illness rather than legitimate complaints about injustice. Are you saying my son needs psychiatric help? His mother asks, her voice breaking slightly. I'm saying he needs support, Olivia replies. Understanding. Maybe some time away from the stressful environment that's triggered these responses. Time away. Removal from school. Isolation from any witnesses to the Shadow Council's activities. It's perfect. They're not just destroying his reputation, they're having him removed from the battlefield entirely. You want me gone, Ethan realizes aloud. This whole thing is designed to get me out of the school. Ethan, Principal Johnson says firmly, no one wants you gone. We want you to get the help you need. But right now, your presence at school is causing significant disruption. Students are afraid. Parents are concerned. Faculty members are reporting troubling interactions. What faculty members? Ethan demands. Who else has complained about me? The question hangs in the air. Ethan looks around the room, studying faces. Principal Johnson. Mrs. Patterson. How many of them are part of this? How deep does the Shadow Council's influence go? His father speaks up. Son, I think we need to consider the possibility that you've been under more stress than we realized. The bullying you've endured, the isolation, maybe it's affected your judgment more than any of us understood. Even his father. Even the man who taught him to fight back against injustice is now suggesting that his fight is a symptom of psychological damage. I want to see the original posts, Ethan says suddenly. The ones that started all this. I want to see the metadata, the timestamps, the account information. I want to trace where this came from. It's a desperate move, but it's all he has left. If he can prove the attack was coordinated, if he can show the digital manipulation. Olivia exchanges a glance with Principal Johnson. Ethan, I don't think that's a good idea. Focusing on trying to debunk every piece of evidence is just going to make you seem more unstable. She's right, and she knows it. Any attempt to investigate will be framed as obsessive behavior. Any evidence he finds will be dismissed as the desperate fabrications of someone having a breakdown. What do you want from me? Ethan asks, the fight draining out of him. What will it take for this to stop? His mother squeezes his hand. Sweetheart, we just want you to be okay. We want you to get better. Better. As if defending himself against systematic abuse is an illness to be cured. As if fighting back against injustice is a psychological disorder requiring treatment. Mrs. Patterson, Ethan's father says, what are our options here? Well, we could arrange for homebound instruction while Ethan receives counseling. Give everyone time to cool down, let the social media situation die down, help Ethan develop healthier coping strategies. Homebound instruction. Complete isolation. Removal from any position where he might gather evidence or build alliances. It's exactly what the Shadow Council wants. Ethan looks around the room one more time. His parents, worried and confused. Principal Johnson, stern but seemingly well-intentioned. Mrs. Patterson, professional and caring. And Olivia Chen, the picture of concerned adolescent maturity. If he didn't know better, he'd think they were all trying to help him. But he does know better. At least, he thinks he does. The doubt creeps in despite his best efforts. What if he is wrong? What if the stress has affected his judgment? What if there is no Shadow Council, no conspiracy, no puppet masters pulling strings? What if he's just a traumatized kid who's lost perspective? But then Ethan remembers Derek's transformation from honor student to bully. He remembers the coordinated nature of the attacks he's endured. He remembers the precision of this morning's digital assassination. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. This is orchestrated. I'll take the homebound instruction, Ethan says quietly. But this isn't over. I know what's really happening here, and eventually, I'll prove it. His mother looks relieved. His father nods approvingly. Principal Johnson makes notes in his file. Mrs. Patterson schedules follow-up appointments. And Olivia Chen smiles. The meeting ends with handshakes and reassurances. Ethan will start remote learning tomorrow. He'll see a counselor twice a week. He'll stay away from school property and school-related social media. He'll become invisible again, just like the Shadow Council wants. As his parents drive him home, his mother turns in her seat. Ethan, I want you to know we love you. We're going to get through this together. His father catches his eye in the rearview mirror. Son, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is accept help when you need it. They mean well. They love him. They're trying to protect him. But they don't understand that by removing him from the battlefield, they're handing victory to the enemy. They don't realize that the help they're accepting comes from the very people who orchestrated his downfall. As they pull into their driveway, Ethan's phone buzzes with one final message from the unknown number. Smart choice, Mr. Reed. Welcome to your new normal. The Shadow Council. The Puppet Masters have won. For now. 3 days later. Ethan's bedroom, 2:17 a.m. The glow of his laptop screen illuminates his face as he stares at the Shadow Council's final message. Around him, printed screenshots and research notes cover every surface. His parents think he's sleeping. They think he's getting better. They have no idea he's been awake for 72 hours straight, piecing together the puzzle they told him doesn't exist. The homebound instruction was supposed to break him. Instead, it freed him. Away from the school's surveillance, away from Olivia's watchful eyes, away from the constant psychological pressure, Ethan's brilliant mind has been working. And he's discovered something the Shadow Council never expected him to find. Their mistake was being too thorough. In destroying his reputation so completely, they had to manufacture evidence from multiple sources. Fake social media accounts, coordinated posting times, manufactured screenshots. But Ethan has been studying human behavior for 3 years, and he knows something they forgot: even artificial behavior leaves patterns. The metadata doesn't lie. The posting timestamps reveal coordination across supposedly independent accounts. The linguistic analysis shows identical writing patterns between different students. The geolocation data traces back to the same IP addresses. Most damning of all, the psychological profiles in the fake posts show a level of sophistication that only someone with advanced training could create. Someone like Olivia Chen. Someone like Mrs. Patterson. Someone like Principal Johnson himself. But Ethan has found something even more devastating. In his deep dive through the school's digital infrastructure, using skills his tormentors never knew he possessed, he's uncovered the Shadow Council's membership list. It's not just students and faculty. It includes parents, school board members, local business owners, even law enforcement. The conspiracy isn't limited to Maplewood High. It's a network that extends throughout the entire community, maintaining social order through systematic psychological manipulation. Ethan's phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number, but not the usual Shadow Council contact. Mr. Reed. You're not as alone as they want you to believe. If you're ready to fight back, meet me tomorrow at midnight. The Old Riverside Mill. Come alone. A friend. Ethan stares at the message. After 3 days of total isolation, someone is reaching out. But is it genuine help, or another trap? In the world of puppet masters and psychological warfare, how can anyone tell the difference between allies and enemies? There's only one way to find out. Ethan closes his laptop and reaches for his jacket. The Shadow Council thinks they've won. They think he's broken, isolated, defeated. They think the puppet has accepted his strings. They're about to discover that some puppets know how to cut their own strings. The revolution isn't over. It's just beginning. Next time on The Silent Roar, who is Ethan's mysterious ally? What is the true scope of the Shadow Council's power? And how far will they go to maintain their control when they realize their greatest threat is still very much alive? Join us for Episode 3, The Underground.